Rylan wiped the sweat from his brow as he tightened the last bolt on a small airship engine. His workshop was crowded and messy, filled with tools, wires, and scraps of metal he had collected from old ships. The city floated high above a glowing sea, a tangle of spires and skybridges. Most people looked at the city with awe, but Rylan only saw opportunities. Every broken machine was a challenge, and every challenge was something he loved. He was just finishing his work when a sudden boom shook the sky. A loud screech followed, like metal tearing in half. Sparks flew from nearby towers as a large shadow fell across the city. Rylan froze. From his window he could see an airship spinning out of control, smoke trailing behind it. The ship had royal markings. He recognized the golden insignia of the Dragon royal family, and it was headed straight for the cliffside. Without thinking, Rylan grabbed his toolkit and ran outside. He wasn't sure why he did it. He wasn't a soldier and he certainly wasn't a hero. But something in him hated to watch anyone fall when he could help. The city streets below were narrow, winding between towers, and Rylan had to jump across small bridges to reach the crash site. When he arrived, the wreck was worse than he imagined. Pieces of metal lay twisted, smoke curled into the sky, and there was a faint heat in the air. Rylan's heart skipped a beat when he saw her. A woman, or rather a dragon hybrid, lay on the ground. Her scales shimmered faintly, and her wings were bent at strange angles. She was breathing, but barely, and her golden eyes fluttered open for a moment before closing again. The royal guard stood back, frozen. Rylan didn't notice them at first. He was focused on her. I can help, he said, unsure if she could hear him. He knelt and checked her injuries. The burns on her scales looked severe, and her chest rose only slightly with each breath. He could feel his hands trembling, but he knew he had to do something. Rylan pulled out small tools and tried to stabilize her wings, connecting loose metal plates from her armor that had bent in the crash. He muttered to himself, trying to think fast. Sparks flew from his tools, but nothing dangerous, just tiny arcs of electricity. The dragon lady's chest heaved, and her breathing slowly became steadier. Rylan breathed a small sigh of relief. Suddenly her hand twitched. He jumped back slightly. The royal guards gasped, shouting at him to step away. "Do not touch her. She is our princess," one of them yelled. Rylan froze. He hadn't realized she was not just any dragon hybrid. She was Lysara, the dragon lady, the pride of the royal family. But it was too late. His fingers had brushed her arm while he worked. A strange warmth spread from the touch. For a moment nothing happened. Then her wounds began to close. The burns faded, her broken scales shifted back into place, and her wings slowly straightened. Her breathing became smooth and even. Rylan stared in shock. I didn't do anything," he whispered. But Lysara's golden eyes opened, brighter now, focused on him. She gave a faint nod as if she understood what had just happened. The royal guard stepped back, their faces pale. They had never seen anything like it. A human, an ordinary mechanic, had healed the dragon lady with a simple touch. Lysara tried to sit up, but pain made her wince. Rylan gently supported her, careful not to hurt her again. "You're going to be okay," he said softly. He didn't know if he was telling the truth or hoping it would be true. She looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and caution. The air was tense. The royal family emerged from the smoke, their eyes wide. They had expected Lysara to die, or at least need full medical treatment from a trained healer. Instead they found a human boy, no, not even a boy, a man, working calmly, saving their sister with something they didn't understand. "Who is he?" one of the guards asked. "How did he?" Rylan shook his head. "I don't know. I didn't mean to, it just happened." Lysara gave a faint, tired smile. "He is different," she whispered. The royal family exchanged glances. Pride, fear, and astonishment mixed on their faces. They didn't know what to do. Could they trust this human? Or was he dangerous? Rylan stood up, brushing off soot from his clothes. He looked at her and then at the royal family. "I'm just a mechanic," he said. "I fix things. I don't know anything about your world, your battles, or your powers. But I couldn't just leave you here." A silence fell over the wreckage. The city glowed faintly under the evening sun, the sky filled with smoke from the crash, and in the middle of it all, a human and a dragon princess stared at each other. Something had changed. Something small but powerful. Rylan had no idea that a simple accidental touch would be the first step in something much bigger. He didn't know that his life, and the future of the dragon royal family, was about to be changed forever. Rylan didn't sleep that night. He stayed in his small workshop, cleaning his tools and thinking about what had happened. The crash, the princess, and the strange warmth from his hands that had healed her. It didn't make sense. He was just a mechanic. Humans were not supposed to have that kind of power. He didn't notice at first that someone was watching him. Lysara's eyes followed him from across the room. She had recovered enough to sit on a bench, her wings folded carefully. Her scales glimmered faintly under the dim lights. She studied him with quiet curiosity, her golden eyes full of questions she could not yet voice. "You healed me," she said softly. Her voice was weak but steady. "How did you do that?" Rylan shrugged. I didn't do anything. I was just trying to fix your armor and help you breathe. I touched your arm by accident. Then, this happened." Lysara tilted her head. "Humans cannot heal dragonkind. Our magic does not respond to your kind. It is impossible." Rylan laughed nervously. "Well, maybe I'm not like other humans." She studied him for a long time. "Perhaps," she said finally. "Or perhaps the universe is stranger than we thought." The royal family stood in the doorway, their faces pale and tense. They had been arguing among themselves about whether to punish him or trust him. Some wanted to strike him down immediately. Others were silent, watching as Lysara's injuries seemed to vanish without a healer's touch. "Step back, all of you," Lysara said. She tried to rise, her body stronger than she had felt moments ago. She reached out her hand to stop her guards. "This human, he did not harm me. And somehow, he helped me. That is all we know for now." Rylan froze as her gaze met his. Her eyes were soft now, almost gentle. He had expected fear or anger. Instead there was trust. A trust he did not feel he deserved. "I don't understand it," he said honestly. "I just did what anyone would do." Lysara shook her head slowly. "No. Humans are not supposed to do what you did. Something about your touch, it awakened a part of me I thought was lost. A part of my life that was slipping away." Rylan swallowed hard. He had never thought of himself as special. He had spent years fixing broken machines, thinking that was all he could do. Now he was realizing that he might be capable of something far bigger. The royal guards muttered among themselves, uncertain. One of them, a tall dragon with silver scales, stepped forward. "Princess, are you certain this human is safe?" "I am certain," Lysara said firmly. "If he wanted to harm me, he would have done it already. But he helped me, and now I can breathe, I can move, I can fight again. That is all that matters." Rylan felt awkward under the attention, but he also felt a small spark of pride. He had never thought of himself as brave, but for the first time he realized that he had done something meaningful. Then without warning, Lysara reached out again. Her hand brushed his shoulder, light and careful. A small warmth spread from where she touched him. Rylan jumped slightly, startled. He had expected her to be cautious, but instead she smiled faintly. "Your energy," she whispered. "It is unique. I can feel it flowing through me. Perhaps it was always there, waiting for the right moment." Rylan shook his head. "I don't know what you mean. I'm just me." "No," Lysara said softly, leaning back. "You are more than that. Humans, most of us have forgotten your strength. But now I remember." The royal family looked stunned. One of them whispered to another, "Could it be? Could a human, really?" "Perhaps," Lysara said aloud. "But we will see. This is only the beginning. The touch awakened something in me, something powerful. And perhaps in you as well." Rylan didn't understand her words, but he felt a strange connection he had never felt before. Her eyes were locked on his, and for the first time in his life, he realized that he was part of something bigger than his workshop, bigger than fixing engines or surviving the floating city. Outside, the city hummed quietly under the moonlight. Airships glided past the glowing towers, unaware of what had just happened in a small workshop below. But inside, a human and a dragon princess had discovered something extraordinary. Something that could change everything. Rylan wanted to ask questions, to understand how this was possible. But Lysara shook her head. "Rest for now," she said. "There will be time for answers later. For now you have done enough." He nodded, but he couldn't stop thinking. How could a human touch heal a dragon? Was it luck, chance, or something more? He didn't know, but one thing was certain. His life would never be the same. And Lysara? She looked at him not as a human beneath her, but as someone who had saved her life. Someone who had done the impossible. In that quiet workshop, with the moonlight reflecting off broken metal and healing scales, Rylan realized that even the smallest actions could change worlds. And he had just taken the first step. Rylan woke early the next morning, the first light of the sky city spilling into his small workshop. Lysara was already awake, sitting quietly on the bench, her wings fully healed and folded neatly behind her. She looked almost regal, like she belonged among the floating towers above, yet here she was, calm and unthreatening, watching him with those golden eyes. "I never expected to wake up alive," she said softly. "And yet, here I am." Ryland shrugged, unsure how to respond. "I didn't do anything on purpose. I just touched your arm. That's all." Lysara shook her head slowly. "No, human. That was not just a touch. Your hands carry something I cannot explain. A force older than the dragons themselves. It reached into me when I was weakest. It healed me." Ryland frowned. "Force? Older than dragons? Look, I'm just a mechanic. I fix engines. That's it." Lysara's gaze held him, steady and unwavering. "Perhaps. Or perhaps your kind is capable of things we have long forgotten." The royal family had returned to the workshop after seeing that she was fully healed. Their expressions were tense, a mixture of awe and suspicion. Lysara stood slowly, moving to face them. "This human," she said, gesturing toward Ryland, "has saved my life. By accident, yes. But his hands, they carry power. Power that even we do not fully understand." The tallest of her siblings, a dragon with silver scales and piercing eyes, stepped forward. "Saved you? With a touch? Impossible." Lysara lifted her hand, showing it to them. The scales on her arm glimmered, fully restored, no sign of burns or broken armor. "It is no longer impossible," she said. "I felt life return where there was none. I felt energy flow from him into me, from nothing into something. And now, I am strong again." Ryland shifted uncomfortably under their stares. He wasn't used to attention, and certainly not this kind of attention. "I'm really not special," he muttered. "I don't know why this happened." "You are special," Lysara said firmly. "Not by birth, not by blood, but by courage, by instinct. You acted when others would have hesitated. That is what awakened this energy. That is why you saved me." Her words struck him harder than he expected. He had always thought his life was small, insignificant. He fixed broken ships, he scavenged parts, he survived day by day. But she was telling him he had done something extraordinary without even realizing it. The royal family whispered among themselves, shocked and uncertain. A human, a creature they had always considered weak and incapable, had touched a dragon and healed her. This went against everything they had been taught, everything they had ever believed. One of the younger dragons, her brother, stepped forward cautiously. "Princess, if what you say is true, then this human—" His words trailed off. "Yes," Lysara said. "He is not like other humans. And I must trust him. For now, he is the only one who has done what we could not. And perhaps, he is the first of a new kind of ally." Ryland's heart raced. He had never thought of himself as an ally or as important, or as someone who could change the course of a dragon's life. Yet here he was, standing in a workshop with a dragon princess, the royal family watching, and realizing that somehow, the universe had placed him in this moment for a reason he could not yet understand. Lysara took a deep breath, steadying herself. "There is more at stake than my life," she said. "Our enemies are gathering. They do not forgive weakness. If they knew I had been injured, and if they knew a human had healed me, they would strike again. Soon." Ryland blinked. "Enemies? You mean, other dragons?" "Yes," she said. "Dragons who seek power, dragons who believe only in strength by blood. They will not accept a human as part of our world. But now, you are part of it whether you like it or not." Ryland felt a mix of fear and excitement. He was just a mechanic, but for the first time he understood that ordinary people could do extraordinary things. He didn't have armor or wings or fire. All he had was his mind, his hands and his courage. And somehow that had been enough. The royal family looked at him again, still unsure, still wary. But Lysara's gaze never wavered. "Watch him," she said. "Learn from him. Perhaps we have underestimated humans for too long." Ryland didn't know how to respond. He was not used to praise and he certainly didn't feel like a hero. But as he looked at Lysara, he realized something important. She trusted him. And if she trusted him, maybe he could trust himself. For the first time in his life, he felt capable of more than surviving. He could change things. He could help, not just fix machines but save lives and maybe, just maybe, help dragons and humans find a new future together. The sun rose higher over the sky city, casting a warm glow over the towers and the streets below. In the quiet of the workshop, a human and a dragon princess sat together, both realizing that the world had just shifted, quietly but forever. And for Ryland that shift was only the beginning. Rylan had not expected the morning to bring trouble, but it came faster than he could imagine. The sky city hummed quietly, the sun glinting off the metal towers, when a distant roar shook the air. Rylan looked out the workshop window and froze. Dark shapes were moving in the sky, sleek, jagged airships, glowing with crimson lights. They were not like the city's vessels, they were sharper, faster, and filled with danger. Lysara's eyes narrowed. "They found us," she said quietly. "Our enemies have tracked my energy. They will not wait for weakness." Rylan swallowed hard. "Enemies? How many?" "Too many to fight alone," she said. "We need every advantage. And you might be the advantage we never expected." Rylan shook his head. "I'm just a mechanic. I don't fight dragons or soldiers or anything." "Then you will fight with your hands," Lysara said firmly. "With your mind, with your skills. That is enough." The royal family appeared behind her, armored and tense. They were ready to defend Lysara, but they glanced at Rylan with uncertainty. Could a human truly help? They had no choice but to see. The enemy ships descended quickly. Red energy beams flashed across the sky as they fired upon the city towers. Sparks flew and alarms rang. Citizens ran, airships scrambled, and chaos filled the streets. Rylan's heart raced. He had never been in a battle like this. He had only fixed broken machines. Now his hands might save lives. Lysara stretched her wings and lifted off the ground. She glided toward the incoming ships, her golden scales glinting in the sun. Rylan watched as her eyes focused, her body moving with precision. He knew she could fight, but he also knew she had been injured before. She would not last long alone. "I need you to help me repair the engines," he shouted. "Quickly. If we can boost her speed, she can evade them." The royal family stared. "A human, fixing engines during battle?" one guard muttered. "Yes. Now." Rylan shouted. He grabbed tools and ran to the edge of the workshop where Lysara's airship was docked. Sparks flew as he tightened bolts, adjusted conduits, and rerouted energy flows. His hands moved fast, guided by instinct. Every move counted. A bolt of red energy hit nearby, shaking the platform. Rylan held on, refusing to fall. He could see Lysara struggling in the sky, her wings moving but slower than usual. He worked faster, ignoring fear, ignoring pain. He knew if he didn't act, she could be destroyed. Suddenly he felt the warmth again, like before when he had healed her. His hands tingled. Without thinking, he touched the engine's core with his bare hand. Energy pulsed through him, flowing into the ship. Sparks of golden light shot through the conduits, stabilizing the damaged systems. Below, the royal guards gasped. Above, Lysara felt it instantly. Her wings strengthened, her movements became faster, sharper. She streaked through the sky like a comet, dodging blasts, her golden eyes locking on the enemy. Rylan didn't stop. He repaired panels, twisted pipes, and connected broken energy lines. Every time he touched something, a faint glow followed. He realized his touch was not just fixing machines, it was amplifying power, giving the ship strength beyond what it should have. The enemy fire grew closer, their ships swarming. Lysara shot upward, performing a series of sharp twists and rolls. She unleashed energy blasts from her claws, hitting enemy ships and forcing them to scatter. Rylan's repairs kept her ship stable, the engines humming perfectly under his hands. For the first time, the royal family saw it clearly. This human was not just a mechanic. He was part of the battle. Every adjustment, every touch, changed the course of the fight. Lysara's enemies faltered, unsure of how she had regained such power so quickly. A massive enemy ship broke through the defenses and aimed directly at Lysara. She braced herself, but before she could act, Rylan's hands flew over the controls, redirecting energy through the wings, giving her extra lift. The ship shot upward just in time, narrowly avoiding destruction. Lysara hovered above the city, breathing heavily but fully alert. She looked down at Rylan. "You are extraordinary," she shouted, her voice carried by the wind. "I'm just helping," he yelled back, feeling the adrenaline surge. The enemy ships retreated slowly, realizing the human and the dragon together were stronger than they had imagined. Lysara landed gracefully, her wings folding neatly behind her. The royal family rushed to her side, checking for injuries, but she was unharmed. Rylan stepped forward, exhausted, covered in soot and sweat. He had done something he never thought possible. He had fought, not with claws or fire, but with skill, courage, and a touch that no one else could have given. Lysara smiled faintly, her golden eyes warm. "You have done more than heal me. You have turned the tide of battle. You are not just a human. You are a protector." The royal family looked at him with a mix of awe and respect. For the first time they truly saw the potential of humans, not as weak, fragile creatures but as clever, brave and capable allies. Ryland's heart swelled with pride, though he tried to hide it. He had never felt like a hero before. Yet now, standing beside dragons, watching the enemy retreat, he realized that even someone ordinary could do extraordinary things. And in that moment he understood something vital. Courage was not about strength or power. It was about action, heart, and the willingness to try, even when the odds were impossible. Above the sky city, the sun glinted off golden scales and metal towers. Below, a mechanic had proven that humans could be heroes too. And this was only the beginning. The city had returned to calm, though the air still hummed with tension. Ryland stood beside Lysara, his hands dirty, his clothes torn in places, but his chest swelled with pride. The enemy had retreated, and for the first time, the royal family looked at him not with doubt or suspicion, but with respect. Lysara's wings folded neatly behind her as she descended from her airship, her golden scales shining in the late afternoon sun. "You have done more than anyone could have expected," she said softly. "You have saved me and perhaps saved the city as well." Ryland shook his head, feeling awkward under her gaze. I didn't do it on purpose. I tried to fix things. That's all." "You tried," Lysara said, smiling faintly. "And that was enough. Sometimes trying is all it takes to change the world." The royal family approached slowly, their expression still cautious but softer now. The eldest sibling, silver-scaled and tall, stepped forward. We have always believed humans to be fragile, incapable of holding their own among dragons. Today we were proven wrong." Ryland blinked, unsure how to respond. He had never thought of himself as strong or special. He had only been a mechanic, surviving day by day. Now dragons, royalty, and even the legendary dragon lady herself were looking at him as someone extraordinary. "You saved her life," another sibling said. "And not with magic, not with blood, but with your hands." "Your courage." Lysara nodded. "Yes. Humans have been underestimated for too long. I can feel the energy he carries, the strength in his touch. There is more in him than we ever imagined." Ryland felt a warmth rise in his chest. He had never been praised like this before. He had never felt like a hero. But standing there, surrounded by dragons who had once seemed untouchable, he realized that even ordinary humans could do extraordinary things when they acted with heart and courage. "Princess," Ryland said softly, I don't know if I belong in your world. I'm just a mechanic. I fix things. I've never fought battles or healed anyone before." Lysara shook her head. "Belonging is not about birth or strength, Ryland. It is about choices. You chose to act when it mattered. You chose to help when others might have hesitated. That is what makes you belong." The royal family exchanged glances. Pride, relief, and a faint hint of awe showed in their expressions. They had faced countless threats, and yet a single human had changed the course of events. A human they had once considered weak. Ryland looked down at his hands, still faintly tingling from the energy that had flowed through him. He realized he had been part of something bigger than himself. He had healed a dragon, strengthened a city, and changed the perception of his kind forever. "Ryland," Lysara said, her voice quiet but firm, "you are welcome among us. Not as a servant, not as a guest, but as an ally, a protector, and a friend. Will you stay?" He hesitated for only a moment. Then he nodded. I will. I want to help. I want to learn. I want to do more." The royal family murmured among themselves, and then the eldest spoke. "Then let it be known. Humans are no longer beneath dragons. They are capable, clever, and strong. Ryland has proven it today. Let this be the beginning of a new era." Lysara smiled. "Yes, a new era where humans and dragons work together. Where courage, not bloodline, determines strength." Ryland felt a surge of pride but also responsibility. He was no longer just a mechanic. He had a role now, a purpose beyond his workshop and his tools. He would learn, he would grow, and he would stand beside dragons, protecting them in the city he had come to care for. The sun began to set, painting the sky city in shades of gold and orange. Airships glided past the towers, their shadows stretching long over the streets. Citizens peeked from windows, watching as the dragon lady and the human mechanic stood together, side by side, ready to face whatever the future might bring. Lysara turned to him. "The universe is larger than we imagine, Ryland. Today was only the first step. There will be challenges ahead and not all will be easy. But together, we can face anything." Ryland nodded, looking at the city and the dragons around him. He had never imagined his life would lead to this. He had never imagined that a human could stand among dragons, heal the legendary dragon lady, and earn the respect of a royal family. But here he was. And he knew one thing for certain: ordinary humans could do extraordinary things. They could change worlds. They could save lives. And perhaps, in time, they could even change the universe itself. As the last rays of the sun touched the spires and towers, Rylan felt a quiet determination rise in his chest. He would continue to fix what was broken, yes. But now he would also protect what mattered. He would face the impossible not as a simple mechanic, but as a human who had discovered courage, strength, and the power to make a difference. And this, he realized, was only the beginning.